This is the Healey Brothers Podcast.
We're going to talk about, this is something I recently learned about, is Apple CarPlay Ultra. Certain brands are going for it, certain brands aren't going for it. And if you don't know what it is, everything in your car runs off of Apple. From not just your radio anymore, not just phone, not just your maps, your climate control, your settings, legitimately everything in the vehicle is running on Apple system. So this is the Healey Pod. I'm sitting with Jason Healey and Andrew Green. Drew probably knows the most about technology out of the three of us. But the hook we're going to use is if every screen in your car looked like an iPhone, would you still feel like you're in a BMW, or would you feel like you're in an Apple?
Well, yeah, the first thing is it's basing it off the iPhone update, Drew, and you can elaborate on that. But it's I think the big question is, do you like iPhone? Is iPhone still the up and coming best technology phone? I think it is still this day, but there's a lot of good stuff coming out. I mean, Android's come a long way. So I'm an Apple guy too. I mean, and I'll let Drew touch on that. But Drew, if you sort of elaborate what the update is a little bit more, that'd probably be great.
Yeah, I mean, so with CarPlay Ultra coming with iOS 26, because now they're going by year.
You even know the iOS?
Yes, because right now, iOS 18, they decided that they're just going to go with numbering them by the year that the iOS comes out in. So all of a sudden we're jumping up to iOS 26. Introduces a whole bunch of new stuff for your phone, for your computer, for your iPad, makes iPad OS even closer to Mac OS. So that's really good for people who use iPads primarily. Yeah, I know a ton of people who that's a primary thing. It's a full takeover of your car when you plug it in. Like you said, and it's a whole change to the UI of what you're looking at on your phone too. So they're calling it, it's a glass, and I forget the exact terminology, but it's some kind of like, not liquid glass. Maybe that's the term. But
I saw pictures of it.
It's beautiful.
I think you got it. Yeah. It looks cool.
Yeah. A lot more customizable, but Android users will say we've had this for years. I have both a Droid phone at home and an iPhone, so I know the pros and cons of both. I have yet to use iOS 26, but I'm excited to see what comes out, because I'm usually one of the first people to hop on the betas, but reading the notes, it's like you might want to hold off.
So are you still a full Apple guy, or I think you use both?
I use both. Yeah, I use both, but primarily I use a Windows computer now. So
And that's a big switch, because when Drew's ordering new tech, we're like talking about it, because I need to know, because I mean, my service, well, I have to because I'm in it, but Drew doesn't have to be in charts and like CDK as much as me. So you can
CDK doesn't work with Apple.
Well, it does, but it's not. It's meant for.
I realized I had tried doing it. It doesn't work.
It's hard. At the end of the day, like if I could use a Mac products, stuff like that for like my iPhone and being connected, that feeling of being everything connected is so nice.
It's nice to have that one universe.
Now I literally just have one Apple product in my AirPods. Granted, I still use AirPods and all that stuff, which is awesome. But let's talk about real quick. You have a GM vehicle.
I do. Yes.
And
2 of the GM.
So I use Apple CarPlay all the time, and I'd be a little upset if I didn't have it in some of my cars. Granted, you still have the GM still shows a great display, and it still looks very fluid. So how is that feeling when you don't have it there?
It took me about 2 days to really, honestly, to just forget about CarPlay. My wife's car also doesn't have it, and she was a big user, obviously a big user of CarPlay. Get in your car, wireless CarPlay is a wonderful thing. But honestly, I don't miss it in the cars when I'm in it now. I mean, messages still pop up. I can still reply. It's so nice to be able to control. Everything's Google based. So all I have to say is, hey, Google, play this on Spotify. I don't even have to push a button in the car. Which is funny because my son discovered it. So now if I have a song on he doesn't like, he just says, hey, Google from the back seat and changes it. So there's
your child would not.
But the screen is beautiful. It's the same deal you had in the...
I took all the Silverado EV last night, and the thing that made me realize how well Google is integrated with the car, if you had Apple CarPlay on this, wouldn't have happened. I was using Super Cruise on 84.
Which is how good is Super Cruise?
Dude, it beats my autopilot, I'll be honest with you.
And that's a Tesla.
I talked about it in that video so much. It's better than autopilot. But I'm going through a construction zone with Super Cruise on, and Google Maps is able to pick up that you're going through a construction zone, and it pops up with a message. So now if I had Apple CarPlay on, there's no way Apple CarPlay is going to be integrated with Super Cruise like that. So being that the whole system, it works off of Google integrating with Super Cruise, and
Well, I think that's a big issue.
never would have happened.
When people hear there's not CarPlay in it, yeah, CarPlay is great. I use it in my cars, but they forget GM's tech and their display and their integration with Google is pretty phenomenal.
Never
and
would
it's
have
stunning.
if I had Apple CarPlay on. It never would have happened.
Billy B, we're driving his Silverado. That's why I told you to get it. We're driving his Silverado EV, and for a guy that I never thought he's like, I don't think I'd go back. I love this car.
Yeah.
But also, we're driving this flight. We're going down in the city. It's picking up everything. He goes, yeah, there's really, like, I don't drop it for a second. Billy's not the biggest tech guy, but he was all about Apple CarPlay. Like, he liked it. Everyone was used to it. He goes, like, it doesn't for a second bother me either way. It's smooth transition. Everything's still there I need. Yeah, are some appearances a little better on some of the apps and stuff like that? Yeah, like, but
I mean, maybe, but when I was looking at it last night, you still have the split screen where you can have your maps up and your music, whatever you want. And it still looks amazing. It looks similar to what your Apple CarPlay would look like, right? But for me, it was just how integrated it was. That never would have happened if Apple CarPlay.
And there are models coming, I mean, updates, but some models have them already where like Netflix and that are coming.
So like what I can do in my...
What you can do in a T word in the Tesla, you could do it.
your teeth in the audio.
I do have, I was able to get in on a developer build of a software called Chromium, which is basically just a browser within that screen. And I mean, it makes, for me, like charging, all the difference to be able to sit there, put on a show or whatever. And I pay for the Wi-Fi package, which is dirt cheap. And I can do everything I do at home on Wi-Fi. I can sit there, I can do work, and my car is charging. Like, it makes it makes life, like, with an EV and someone like me who lives in, a condo that I can't charge at home. It's just like I'm sitting there, and the Google integration just makes it so much easier.
You're going away or something, and you're like, hey Jay, I'm just gonna go pop down the charger. I have Wi-Fi. Like, I'm just gonna wear it the last hour. I think you said your wife had your car or something like that, because that was charged, so he had to go charge the other vehicle. But
let's get back to Apple CarPlay.
Yeah.
Right, and how it differs. Like, speak more on like how it differs from regular Apple CarPlay, because it's pretty massive. Like what I was saying, like your HVAC, your seats, like it legitimately...
It's full control. It's full control how your vehicle operates besides the driving aspect.
Besides the driving aspect, yes, but it literally...
It's on your dash. It's on everywhere.
So
every screen in the car.
Yeah.
Everything. If you're a big Apple guy, it looks awesome.
Oh, it's definitely cool. It's like in your house, and your house syncs to it. It's like when the
Apple's automakers are jumping on the bandwagon, though.
Yeah, so I mean, the big thing is here, and you read about it.
We do. Kia and Hyundai are going.
Yeah, so you understand it. And also, GM doesn't use CarPlay now, but they haven't said they're fully out of that, but I would imagine they are. Ford. So I think the big thing with OEMs is also the usage and the data that's going back and forth. They don't touch that. So the more consumers using that, that's going all to Apple, and they're picking up things. Even though they shut down their auto thing, they're getting how people use their technology, and that's how they create better products, create better usability, and that's where they make all their money, is on how people use their products. Also, GM and Ford, they sell the subscriptions and stuff like that as well. Drew pays for something. That is theirs. So that's a loss of revenue for them. That's a big thing as well. But I think the biggest thing is the data on how people use things in the car. I think that's a huge part of it. And it's also scary, like, hey, now there's a third party, granted, Apple's like Fort Knox, and they've great security and all that stuff, but now the OEM doesn't do that. That's one thing behind the wheel. You're interacting with that thing 24/7 on what you're doing. I think that's a huge part of how people use vehicles, and also why people buy vehicles, is how they use it. If they lose control of that, that's like, you're going blind.
Bill Birmingham was telling me, like, GM and Apple's problem was Apple wouldn't budge on the data aspect of it.
Yeah, they don't budge with anyone.
They wanted all of it. They wouldn't budge on the data aspect of it.
I'll let you got to touch on.
You're a multi-trillion-dollar company, basically. You're not giving away, you don't give away anything for free. And, the thing also is, what data is proprietary to the OEM that they're, not, that they could potentially sell. I mean, data is a big business, and Apple knows that. And there's so much that they can do with any of that data, where when it takes over your entire car, they know, not that they already don't know a lot of this with basic CarPlay, but how fast you're going, where you're going, how hard you're using your brakes. Like, there's so much that could be sold and used and utilized, that I think a lot of car makers are okay with the standard, but let us keep control of the aspects that are in your, your center, not your center console, but your, I want to say dashboard, but that's the center. What am I looking for? Your gauge cluster. That's the word, because it's not, it's digital now. So it's your digital gauge cluster. But when Apple starts to take that over now, think of all the data that you get in there that have to do with car diagnostics and maintenance things. It's again, a lot of it is data, because then who says that, Apple can't turn around to the, not mom and pop, but let's say the Valvolines or the Meineke's of the world and be like, well, here, you want to know when this car needs an oil change before the manufacturer knows? Here, we'll sell you that data right away. Pop up.
And I don't think that's, I mean, there's some law stuff around, so you don't know what's going on. But I mean, Apple seems to figure out everything to monetize just about every piece of data you
do it. Yeah. Right within the line of the law.
Yeah.
But I think, you have to be careful with one aspect of CarPlay that is just, sometimes it doesn't work. I mean, you've had it? I'm sure you've had issues.
I use the simplest form of it. I mean, I don't use it like the tech like you use it, but
there are times when, especially on like wireless CarPlays, where sometimes it just doesn't sync. And if you're someone who relies fully on your car being in that ecosystem, and then you get in one day and for some reason it's not working, because many things like, that we take for granted, like iMessage, run off of a server at Apple. So if you're trying to send a text message to someone and you're used to messaging through the car like that, all of a sudden your whole life is turned upside down because, let's say, iMessage servers are down, which happens on occasion. What are you going to do? So that's your issue.
That makes me think of, like, with my brother and my dad, they have problems where customers come in, they're having issues with their CarPlay. And it's not on the General Motors side of things. Right. So there's actually nothing we can do to fix the CarPlay.
None of our software.
And that was a problem that they were running into, where they were having issues with CarPlay. Customers are coming in thinking we can fix the problem. We can't fix the problem. And so maybe that's something that wean General Motors off of it. It's like we have customers complaining that they're having issues with their Apple CarPlay. That's the point. And it's not on our end and we can't fix it. I don't know. That could be something that GM would.
I'm not knocking the product. Right now, if I went to a car with a different, granted I drive GS, but I don't drive them long distance without CarPlay, it would bother me. It'd bother me. It would throw me off a little bit. Would it keep me from buying a car? No, I choose the car based on like performance, how I feel in it, and comfortability and stuff like that. So, and style. But I think it is a huge talking point and I respect the OEMs that want to protect their data. That's their livelihood. That's how they survive. That's how they come up with routine maintenance. That's how they know about. I mean, that's how they literally do everything nowadays. Your car is a big computer, and when you give up a lot of that, it's scary. Granted, I'm sure there's different ways around it, how they share data to an extent, but still, like when they're like, oh, why would I give up that when I can control that now? I think it's a big part.
But for our brands that are getting it, which is their next model years, 2026 is Kia and Hyundai. They're going for Apple CarPlay Ultra. So, I mean, I'll put pictures up of it. I think the only pictures I can really find are the Aston Martin DB12, because it's actually...
Yeah, they already started using it. It does look coolish. That's getting wrong. It does look really cool.
Because the only vehicle that actually currently had a release in their car was the DB12.
That was like a few months ago, right?
Was it only a few months ago?
It was within, a couple months.
It was like May or something.
Fully came out, yeah.
So the pitch of Apple for Apple CarPlay Ultra is that they let you use your brand coloring. Right. So in the Aston Martin, you can see the neutral colors, like you can use your brand coloring, and then was lower R&D, like lower research and development cost. So rather than when you're coming out with a new model, rather than spending so much money trying to figure out like, what am I going to do with my software and my infotainment display and everything like that? Apple's pitch was, we've got that already. We can lower your R&D costs.
And then we're selling the data back
to you. Exactly. They're not even selling it back. They're not even giving it back.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was part of the pitch.
I mean, who knows what they'll do? Like, this is so early, they might have a sharing agreement or something like that, because they'll realize, like, hey, if all these cars kick me out, now we have no data on how people...
I mean, you're right. The no list is already Mercedes, Audi, Volvo, Polestar, Renault.
They all have pretty good dashes and clusters, though, too. Like, they do have good tech. It's not bad. My wife, without CarPlay, she'd probably have... That's sad. That's just
the Chevy cars. Like, when I went to my car, no longer having Apple CarPlay, Tesla does the same thing. It's integrated with Google. there's no need for it. Like even like so comparing my car driving the Silverado EV last night, it's the exact same thing. Like it literally feels like if you want to say like you were using Apple CarPlay. So like I would never miss it. If I went from my car to a GM EV, I would feel the same way. Like it's so integrated. Like there's no need for CarPlay.
Yeah, one thing I really think about it too though is why these other brands like Kia and Hyundai, they're known as the tech affordably great vehicles, great warranties, but they want to, their demographic, they want to be tech friendly. And Apple's the biggest tech company in the world that has iPhones and stuff like that. And they want to be like, hey, we have the best technology. We partnered with Apple. They take that feeling is that full feeling. And I think that's what they're really going for. And I mean, to me, it's a great point because I want the younger buyer, the hip, like, I mean, you don't do anything without iPhone. iPhone's still the mega donor. And now get in your car and you could feel like you have your iPhone fully there and fully automated. And it's even better like everywhere in your car, not just looking in the center. Yeah. I think that's a big part of it too. And I was really shocked that Porsche agreed to it because they like that minimalist kind of
They're
beautiful power.
old school with their
And yeah, like, but I think that's why people love them at the same time.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, a Porsche's, I can't imagine them going away from an analog dial, you know.
If that goes away.
I mean, I don't know.
The study that more, what was the study? We should pull up that study of more people want at least the AC like hard button. Oh, yeah. It was something like that, yeah. There's a study that came out, you definitely have to share that, but I don't think it was like...
complete opposite. I gotta open my glove box for my touchscreen.
Yeah, so I think that a lot of people still want the AC control and the climate control like hard buttons too, and then a volume hard button where more people like, I think Volvo did the study or someone did the study and they're like, most people want the volume and then the climate. The rest can be touchscreen, but they want those two hard ones because they don't want to search for
and they want them to work.
Yeah, and they don't want to talk to them. Like the talking, they don't feel like work the best too. I think that was another part of it. But
I mean, at the end of the day, everything's a computer, like you said, and things go awry with computers and things go not crazy, but they freeze up. And
imagine your whole entire car system freezes.
I mean, that's my only concern with CarPlay Ultra is like, will it know to disconnect completely or will it just freeze? Like, you know, if somebody's scrolling through too many screens or whatever, and it's, I guess they really have to be careful with what model phones they're running off of because...
Oh, I didn't even think of it from that perspective.
Because if you think of it...
Well, and also the OEM cluster they're putting in too. Right. And the OEM software they're putting in the vehicle matters too.
Yeah, because don't forget, yes, it's running these clusters and that, but whatever the OEM software is running in the background is still there too. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, not everyone has an iPhone. Not everyone wants an iPhone. Not everyone who has an iPhone wants to use CarPlay. So they still have to ensure that everything the driver needs is available. And it's always going to be running. Yeah, exactly. And you got to make sure that
They're more than us of mine, but it doesn't switch over if Apple CarPlay.
And I'm not saying there's no, I'm sure I mean, it's Apple, it's all these other companies, Apple and
the R&D that probably went into this is probably...
I mean, yeah. And I think we're just going to have to see many more use cases before. And I think that's why a lot of the bigger automakers, not that like Aston Martin but why Hyundai and Kia took their time to put it in a 26, you know, but why Ford and others are a holdout are because you have to ensure that it's going to work. You know, Ford had their own issues with systems going way back to their first touch screens. You know, and they'll admit it.
Their first apps.
And you know, nothing is ever without a little bit of pain.
And there's no rush to it. Right. I don't think they're going to lose buyers overnight or anything.
Exactly. And I think that, and I'm curious too, if in some of these cars, can you choose to have a traditional CarPlay or to let your car use Ultra?
Like, you're saying like, if it's one or the other?
If are you forced to use Ultra or can you choose, you know, CarPlay Ultra in this car, or I still want my manufacturer gauge cluster, but I want my touchscreen and infotainment to be CarPlay.
I never thought about that. I'm curious if they're going to give you that option.
Yeah.
I mean, well,
I read about it. I didn't read anything about that, but I'm sure there's got to be something about it.
Test drive
also,
and see what it's...
At the end of the day, Apple is all about the consumer experience. Yeah. So are the OEMs know if they don't have a good consumer experience in their car when someone's driving, like especially in our area, you're driving, what, 25, 30 miles on average? You need a comfortable vehicle. You need to have your infotainment system. You need to have good clusters, everything like that, because we do drive more up here. And it comes down to customer experience. If it's not working, there will be adjustments. They'll do whatever it needs to take. And I mean, Apple's the best one at doing that. And that's why they also need this data. So them being limited to all these OEMs now they're losing, for the time being, a lot of data on how the full-on luxury bar, you have it now. But like, you lose a lot of the big, like BMW and Mercedes. That's a big portion of people.
You got to think about
in luxury
brands that did it publicly. There's other brands that haven't come up publicly and so they're vending.
Sure.
And then how about your largest truck buyer? You have Ford and GM now not using it. Now your truck buyer is different. Like, so there's a lot of different things that go into it.
In some GM vehicles right now, it's really just the EVs that don't have it. So God forbid you want Apple CarPlay, go buy an ICE Silverado and you still have it.
Yeah. But
actually, no, my dad's Suburban doesn't have it actually.
Really?
He just bought a new one.
Oh yeah, the new one. Yeah.
their partnership, like, it's severed after all the new models, I think now, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. Because I just thought about, I think,
Watch, Apple's gonna be like, hey, we'll pay you to get it back in there. They're still selling tons of vehicles. So, I mean, GM's a big sample size.
You're making me think on how, after driving the EV Silverado and seeing how the Google was integrated with Super Cruise, I wonder if Apple, like any brands that wind up doing Apple CarPlay Ultra, how that's going to work.
Oh,
if they're going to have the ability of how Google did it.
I mean,
when I tell you it was integrated, as soon as you went to a construction zone, Google was right there.
There's no way they won't be integrated with that. It's all about the sharing data where all these OEMs, if they have a fair sharing data agreement, I think a lot of them will do, and have customer choice, I think that a lot of them will do it. But
I'm going to put a bunch of pictures of the Aston Martin because, like I said, it looks awesome. It does look awesome.
I mean, it's on Apple's page.
So you're looking on the HVAC controls and everything like that. Like, the car looks really cool with Apple CarPlay Ultra. But it's, if you want to say a scary step for a lot of automakers, it's a big change.
Well, it's something that has been in their control since the day they, were incorporated. Whatever car, company you're talking about, they put research and development into making sure that they had the controls down for their clients. Whether it was great in every car, no, and there's cases from the 80s where too much was digital, but you look back now and they're just going to say, here, it's on you, Apple. But they can say that for Apple users, but I still wonder, what percentage of Aston Martin buyers don't have an Apple device?
that's probably high.
It's probably high.
It's not a young buyer.
It's not that it's not a young buyer too. It's Android still worldwide is the largest operating system used on cell phones. So
Blows my mind.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be said about certain countries and their devices and privacy laws and things like that, and what you can and can't do. We won't get into politics, but the point is, they can't just look at the United States. I mean, I guess they could and say any cars that ship to North America will give you CarPlay. But at the end of the day, they're still going to have to put the research and development, while it may be cheaper because they can look at the data of iPhone users, they still have to make sure that what they put out there is just as consumer friendly as it has been before.
Yeah, because it just costs them more money if they have to do it for one. So they have to do it different every single time. Like,
yeah. So I think what it'll do in the end is maybe just bring the more automakers that jump on it, I think you will see that the designs and everything about from their climate control designs to the gauge clusters will all be quite similar in their models. I think because that will at least ensure that if they're working off of an R&D standpoint, well, okay, we only have to build this system to work on this resolution of a screen and this resolution of a screen and make sure that it has this. And then, Apple's CarPlay is going to look the same in all of our cars. I think that there's a lot to be said for the simplicity of it and how it can change the automaker's mindset on design and interiors and just overall usability.
yeah, I mean, I think that's well said. At the end of the day, it's only time will tell. It's beautiful looking tech, I think, and the OEMs are competing and they are creating beautiful tech in any vehicle now. But at the end of the day, both are going to have to listen to the consumer and what they want. Right now, that study worries me. They come out and people want a couple little knobs left on their car instead of all touchscreen. But is that the right way to go or not? It's about listening to your consumer.
Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, hit that subscribe button, and follow us at Healey Brothers on all social platforms.